He built a company worth hundreds of millions. He was a respected leader, visionary, family man. And then a stadium camera turned and the mask fell off. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, was caught in an intimate moment with his chief people officer, Cleopatra, at a Coldplay concert. This cost of reputation triggered a board-level investigation and left thousands of employees in uncertainty. But here's the real story. Was it just a scandal or a symptom? A symptom of how power left unchecked can rot the soul, of how success can erode the very character that built it. This isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. There's a story nearly 3,000 years old that mirrors this downfall with haunting accuracy. Not in time, but in truth. Let me take you there. This story is from the 1st century, during the last days of the Roman Republic. Mark Antony was one of the most powerful men in Rome. He was a strong general, a respected leader, and seen by many as the future of the empire. Cleopatra, the queen of Egypt, was just as powerful, but in a different way. She was intelligent, charming, and knew exactly how to use her influence. People didn't just follow her, they were drawn to her. At first, Antony met her for political reasons, but very quickly, that changed. What started as an alliance turned into a deep emotional and romantic affair. The problem? Mark Antony was already married. He had a family in Rome. He had responsibilities. But Cleopatra made him feel alive, untouchable, even worshipped. He gave her land. He gave her armies. He fathered her children, honored her gods, and turned his back on the people he once promised to serve. And just like that, one of the strongest leaders in Roman history lost control, not because of a war, but because of a woman he couldn't say no to. It's a very old version of the same story we still see today. When powerful men cheat, they don't just break promises, they break empires. Back then, it was Cleopatra. Today, it's the co-worker at the top, the quiet embrace at a concert, the secret that doesn't stay secret. In 31 BCE, Rome had had enough. At the Battle of Actium, Mark Antony and Cleopatra's forces were crushed by Octavian, his former ally. Betrayed and defeated, Antony ran back to Egypt. When he heard a false rumor that Cleopatra had taken her own life, he fell on his sword, killing himself in grief. And when Cleopatra found out, she let a venomous snake bite her. She refused to be paraded through Rome in chains. Their deaths didn't just end a romance, they ended the independence of Egypt. They opened the door for Rome to become an empire. All because a powerful man lost control of his desire and chose passion over principle. The story of Mark Antony and Cleopatra may be 2,000 years old, but it's not that different from what we saw now with Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot. Both men, Antony and Byron, had power, respect, and a future full of promise. Both women, Cleopatra and Cabot, were intelligent, charming, and held high positions of influence, and in both stories, something personal destroyed something public. Now, the question here is, why do people at the top keep falling? Why does it happen over and over again? From Roman generals to modern CEOs, the story plays out the same way. It's not just about desire, it's about something deeper, something that happens when power and pressure meet human weakness. The first reason is that power makes people hesitate less. When someone rises high enough, that inner voice, the one that warns them to stop, to think, to be careful, it starts to go quiet. They stop questioning their actions. They start believing the rules don't apply to them. They feel untouchable. That's what happened to Mark Antony, and it's likely what happened to Andy Byron. They weren't just tempted, they thought they were above consequences. The second reason is the closeness that power creates. When two people spend enough time together, in meetings, on business trips, making big decisions side by side, something shifts. It starts out professional, but slowly, without even noticing, the walls come down. Emotional bonds form, and when the stress is high, that bond feels like relief. Mark Antony and Cleopatra spent months together, planning war and shaping politics. Byron and Cabot worked side by side, day after day, building the future of their company. Eventually, that kind of proximity stops feeling dangerous. It starts feeling normal. The third reason is entitlement. That feeling of, I've earned this. I've worked hard. I've sacrificed more than anyone. I've carried the weight of this company, this team. this empire. So I deserve something for myself. And that's where the door opens, not just to lust, but to ego. It's not about love. It's about a need to reward yourself, even if it means hurting others. The fourth reason is silence. Most people in power are surrounded by people who won't challenge them. They build a circle that only agrees. No one dares to say this isn't right. Mark Antony ignored every warning, even when it was obvious where things were headed. And Byron, we don't know if anyone tried to speak up, but when no one around you says no, you start believing yes is always the answer. The fifth reason is the love of image over the love of truth. Antony still wore the robes of a Roman general while giving his loyalty to Egypt. He tried to look like the hero while living a double life. Byron ducked behind a stadium seat when the camera turned on him. He wasn't hiding love, he was hiding shame. When the truth threatens the image, most powerful people protect the image and bury the truth. And that's how it happens, not in one big moment, but in 100 small ones. It builds slowly, and when it finally breaks, everyone acts surprised. In the end, power may build your empire, but character is what keeps it standing. The stories change, the names change, but the lesson stays the same. If you like this video and want more stories where history meets philosophy, hit that subscribe button. We break down ancient wisdom for the modern world. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.